Well, good afternoon. Back in the studio once again, me and Stacey, Lori, with you guys from the Champaign-Urbana community, and just thank the Lord for being able to be back in the studio one more time, taking another show, taking another segment, Let the Truth Be Told. Appreciate UPTV and all the good people over there, Jason, and everybody that's over there supporting us with the television program. So, and I thank the Lord for everybody that came up and said that we've been informative. I see you on TV, things of that nature, you know. So I really appreciate it. It's been it seemed like a long time since we've been back in the show.
Way too long, Brother Williams. I tell you what, I just feel blessed to have had the man blow me right here in this seat right now, and we want to seize that moment and that opportunity. And with that being said, this has kind of been like a tongue twister for us today, but it might be a convoluted title, but we want to make it real crisp, real sharp, real concise for the audience. And again, thank you for your attentiveness out there. Second chance, a look at supplication, serenity, sovereignty, and finally salvation on your way to your own personal triumph. So this is, Sean, he does a million things in a day. He's sleep deprived and he's successful, but there's one reason why he is successful is because he's willing to do those things that others aren't willing to do. And with that being said, Brother Hub had introduced us to a motivational guy that everyone can relate with, and that Eric Thomas and his struggle, and I think we kind of want to get it going with the supplication aspect as far as just not crying because you failed, but crying to succeed, just as a change in mentality and mindset, and kind of open up for us and roll with that for us, will you?
Man, Stacey, I mean, that was so powerful. I mean, sometimes your friends can give you something, and it can be a real uplift and a pick 'em up. And that's what Brother Hub did for me when he gave me that motivational YouTube motivational clippings of Eric Thomas and him empowering some students from a college, from a local junior college or something around within the Detroit area. But one of the things that he talked about is about, I mean, we all go through things. We all done fail. We all done fell short. We all done, had some slip and falls. But get back up.
Yeah.
Get back up. Get back in the saddle. I mean, find out what went wrong, and try not to do the same thing that went wrong one more time, and try to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, Sean, and thank you again for sharing that with me, because I wouldn't have known about Brother Eric Thomas doing those things in Michigan State and throughout the country, and more specifically in the Detroit metro area, because as an example, he's been homeless, and when everyone saw him a certain way because of the rags he had, not the riches, he saw himself and made a dedicated and concerted effort to change the way he thought of himself first and how he was perceived in the community. And I think Brother Eric Thomas can really impact all of us, because at one time or other, all of us have not been where we wanted to be and have wanted to change that, but we just didn't really have the instruments in place and the knowledge to do so.
But Stacey, one thing about it, do you believe that everybody want to be successful? First, you got to take on the role of, do you want to be successful? Is that your charge? Is that your challenge? Are you trying to be a good Christian? Are you trying to be in a good relationship? Are you trying to be in a good business of your own, or be a good employee? Are you willing to take on the responsibilities that it's going to take to get there? And he talked a lot about change. Turn that cell phone off.
Right.
I mean, some of the things like that, turn that cell phone off, cut the distraction out. What are you going to do? You spend more time watching your favorite television program, or do you spend more time working on your success?
Yeah.
I mean, today's Sunday, a lot of the guys I know, they breaking their neck to go see the football game.
Monday night football.
It's what, Sunday night.
Sunday night. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, not Thursday night.
So that's football all day.
Right.
I mean, you can stay at home, watch a little evangelism on television, and then change the channel, come about 11, noon, and start watching football.
Right.
But is that going to make any forward steps towards your success? Toward the goal that you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to accomplish CBS's goal and NBC's goal on the rating side.
Procter & Gamble, Kellogg, all those companies, Yum brand, everybody selling something to you and want to take money out of your pocket. But the ironic thing about what Eric Thomas But a lot of things that he mentioned that really have impacted me is a lot of changes in success don't cost anything of monetary value. All they cost is the ability to change your mindset and change what you do to make the gap between perception and reality become a reality.
He talked about the kids saying, I'm not good at math. That's because you're not trying to do math. You're not practicing on math. You're practicing on being a PlayStation king. You're the best guy on NBA Live. On PlayStation. Because that's where you spend most of your time at. So you can only get out of life what you put in it.
Right.
A lot of times we want way more out of life than what we put into it.
Right.
I mean, how can you go to a garden and you never planted nothing? You got to plant the seeds.
Yeah. And the seed becomes an apple tree. Nobody wants a seed. We want an apple tree, and those are some of the ways that we can get that apple tree or that lemon tree or that pear tree.
Right.
To harvest that seed.
Right. So, just that if you can go to YouTube, Eric Thomas, Secrets to Success, that's what it's called, Secrets to Success. And my nephew Jamar, he was so inspired by it because he's been looking for motivational type CDs or DVDs to be able to watch and be able to show other people. And it is so powerful and uplifting to me because as we're working on some new businesses that we're starting, we will be as a team watching these motivational DVDs and these YouTube type of specials because these are things that uplift you to make you empowered, to make you feel better about what you're doing. Feel better about your success. We always know that the devil out there to kill, steal, and destroy. So on your road to success, know that it's going to be some challenges.
Yeah. Be willing to give up. Basically what the man said is be willing to give up everything to get to where you are. It's like survival. It's like want to survive as much as you want to be successful. And if that doesn't lead to success, it leads to failure.
What Eric Thomas said is be willing to work on being successful like you want to breathe. He said everybody, if you ever had asthma, and you know how it feels when you have asthma and you can't breathe, and you're sucking for air. Be sucking for success the same way. If you want to try to get a diploma or if you want to try to get a degree, be working on getting your degree. Just don't be faking and phony and shucking and jiving people.
Right.
Wasting people's time.
Turn your cell phone off till January 2013. You called the right number, but I'm not available right now. Do not be afraid to say that.
You called at the wrong time. As we get into this morning, we're going to cover today, but I do really appreciate Eric Thomas for giving us that information.
Yeah, and that's a perfect dovetail into Serenity, which is really what he wanted to do. There was discourse in his life, and he was tired of the pain, the sorrow, the grief, and he wanted to turn himself from a zero to a hero. And Serenity is perfect because, without us doing our self-research and going deeper into what we're here, we're just like you. We feed on Facebook, YouTube, propaganda from the media, but to do your own research, to dig deeper into the stats, to get what you need out of it. And with that being said, we found out Serenity was a title of royalty, and that really just kind of blew my mind because I had never thought about serenity in that way. But serenity equaling peacefulness equals how you're treated when you're perceived to be peaceful as opposed to being angry all the time. And I know you deal with some situations being a community activist and stuff where you kind of feel like you're in the lion's den, so to speak. So, reflect on that.
A lot of times we just can't, and it's especially in the different roles that I play in so many different hats, you just can't get mad about what went wrong. Don't put more effort in your problem than you're gonna put on your solution. And when I'm representing a community or a neighborhood like Bristol Park or
a family
or a family that's down here
be at the funeral home
or down in my barbershop and going handling some business down there, maybe dealing with some brothers or some sisters that's going through some issues down there, I gotta kind of either put myself in their shoes, to be able to understand their pain and what they're going through, to be able to make the proper decision and tell them the proper information. A lot of times, and I kind of went through a bit this morning on the radio about the efforts that a lot of the people that want me to do a walk with them or a march with them, about the new county jail issue that the county wants to do. A new county jail, spend $20 million on that program and to get a new county jail. Well, me personally, it's the views and opinions of Sean. If they get a new penthouse jailhouse over there, then that's good. I mean, because it's better for them to be in an environment that's going to be clean if they're going to be there. Because true to fact, everybody ain't going to do what's right. You know, everybody's not going to do what's right. And when you do the wrong things, it's called, you might end up in jail. So, I mean, if you're going to be there, at least let it be a clean environment. But I would rather spend my efforts trying to keep you out of jail.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather spend my efforts keeping somebody from maybe killing that young lady on the 4th of July weekend and taking her away from her young kids and her husband that's in the military, that's been fighting overseas in Iraq for our country. I'd rather get in there and be an intermediate between that situation and say, young man, pull your pants up. Young man, your life is more important than you to be in jail for the rest of your life. So I'd rather spend my efforts doing that. You know, I thank the Lord for Dave Barr, and I thank the Lord for Victor on all the El Toros that I ran into Dave one day, Stacey, down at the gas station down on Neal Street, and I was in my car and he was in his car, and I had seen his car. It was really nice Maserati, and he seen my car.
He's got a fleet of cars, by the way. That's one spot.
He said, man, I like your car, and I told him I like this car, and he said, and I said, hey, my name's Sean Williams. He said, Sean Williams. He said, man, I really liked that article that was in the paper about you. You know, that was a great article, great story. And so after we exchanged, he said his name was Dave Barr, and I said, oh man, I've seen all your signs for years all over town.
Right.
Well, we ended up exchanging numbers, and then he called me a few weeks later and said, hey, look, I got an idea. He said, let's work with some kids. Let's use our cars as a leeway to be able to reach the kids. So me, Dave, and Vic, we got together, we set it up, and we did our first car show at Lincoln Challenge. One white guy, one Latino guy, and one black guy, to be to show all aspects of life, and that we all got our own story, and we all might not have started at the same place, but we're all here together, working together for a common goal and a common good to help somebody else. And we had such a great day. I mean, such a great day when I got up to tell my story. Vic got up and told his story. Dave was so choked up about seeing so many kids at one place that's just in need of a blessing, in need of somebody to take some time out with them, to be able to say, hey, look, I know what you're going through, and we love you, and we want to see you be successful. And that's what we said today. I mean, this is the reason why we take out our time, spend our money, and things of that nature, because we want to tell you you can be successful.
And we care.
Yeah, and we care. Because, I mean, a lot of times we're so caught up in our everyday life that we so consumed by everything, all the dysfunctionals of life that we consumed by, whatever our hurts, habits, and hang-ups are. We go so consumed about that we don't care about the next man. We don't care about the next situation. We don't care about voting. We don't care about some of the important things of life. Certain things that people have paved the way for us.
Right.
People took sacrifices. You know, when Eric talked about, about the slave incident down there and how Harriet Tubman, she felt how she felt and how she was so dedicated toward trying to save somebody else.
That's more particularly the Underground Railroad, the Freedom Train.
Yeah. And when I went to Tunica, Mississippi, and we looked at all those fields and how long that road had been, you know how much determination and care and love that had to been to make it all the way up here to say Illinois, to say Chicago and Detroit, and have enough passion and heart to say, hey, look, not catch the bus, but say I'm gonna walk back just to bring somebody and pull somebody else up. And when I was talking to some people about the Bristol Park neighborhood, and I said, change is scary. It's a faith walk. It's a total faith walk when you change. And because you don't know what to expect, because you've never been there before. You're in a place that you've never been. And so when the Bristol Park neighbors get ready to believe about the Bristol Park neighborhood, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a faith walk because they've been over there in that community for so long, that neighborhood so long. So we got to do like Moses did, lead the people. But so many times the leadership crying and bickering and spattering between each other, then how can you lead? How can you lead when you dysfunctional yourself? You haven't healed yourself.
Blind leading the blind.
You still hurt. you still hurt. And a lot of times, you know, when guys, and I've really been on it, I mean, a stickler too, go see those neighbors.
Yeah.
Get over there in that neighborhood. Yeah. Move around that neighborhood. Visit some of those neighbors in the Bristol Park or the Garden Hills neighborhood, or any one of these trouble spots that might need some attention.
And know who you serve. And that's a subtitle to the Serenity, which is that title of honor, respect, and dignity. That could be even as far as repose in the funeral home, as far as just the way you want to lay that person down at that last viewing or final viewing. And that dedication that you take here at Williams Memorial Service, which we're sitting in the plentiful, beautiful chapel here, kind of reflect on that and how that's kind of maybe changed your life and kind of made you look at things on a daily basis of how final things really can be as it relates to repose.
You know, I came up with so many different ideas, as you said. You know, I mean, I thank the
That's
Lord.
my job.
I thank the Lord for even being in the funeral home business and being able to serve families. I thank the Lord for you guys entrusting us with your loved ones, and we try to take out and do a dedicated job toward doing that, and a professional job and handling the loved ones. But you know, Stacey, we've learned so much in the last 2.5 years.
We come a long way, and that's thanks to everybody we work with, and it's just
you know,
it's amazing.
If you can just close your eyes and think back, you know, be thankful.
Right.
So many times we're not thankful for where we're at.
Right.
You know, we blessed.
Yes.
We blessed right
favored.
now. We blessed right now. You know, the activity of your limbs. To not being stressed out in front
and
of
not be incarcerated. We have freedom.
To wake up and have another chance at life.
And that's because of a lot of to reflect and dovetail on your story, going back to Tunica, and we traveled down south, you know, very extensively to Louisiana or Blytheville, Arkansas, or Mississippi, what have you. You know, it's just to know that what people before you have been through, we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors, and to really believe that and not take that for granted. Don't because without action we perish. And it's so often like you got a thing for the kids sagging. But how about a thing for what we hear out of the children's mouths a lot these days and things of that nature, because we know that the tongue essentially rules.
Man, life and death and the power of the tongue. Life and death. You speak things into existence. You know, yesterday when I called my nephew Senator Brown, you know, and you know, and he perked up, you know, because that's his ambition.
He might have need that pick him up.
And that's where you want to be.
Right.
And you got to talk that, speak that into existence. You know, and when we get back to the subtitle, you know, and just
the serendipity and how you give every family a gift. He didn't say it, but I'll say it for him. Here at Williams Memorial Services, we give every family a gift that have entrusted us with their loved one. And I know that you really appreciate that, and I wouldn't say that unless it were true. And I want to take this moment that UPTV has provided us with to really differentiate Williams Memorial Services from most of the folks that we've dealt with out here.
Oh, and to not just get your money and run off.
Right. It's a relationship and an ongoing relationship with the community.
Let you know we're part of a family now. You know, we built such a tight bond during this fast moving week or something toward preparations for a nice homegoing service, a memorial service. You know, and then that being said, you know, we just came off a great funeral,
And what church was that?
It was at Greater Holy Temple for a lovely lady and Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Annie Brown, just a beautiful lady that said that she said what she said what came to her mind.
Right.
And if she wanted to tell you something, she'd just straight tell you.
Yeah.
And so I met her.
Miss Helen Warren's the same way. We can't do Miss Helen.
Miss Helen the same way. You know, but you know, being able to take care of her for her sons and her daughters that really loved their mom.
Yeah.
And it took out, every effort to make sure that it was a great homegoing service, and the whole look and feel of it was beautiful. You know, it was touching, it was moving, you know. I almost go through that. I almost don't go through any of these funerals without getting choked up.
Yeah, we cry at every funeral, and it's not because they're our loved ones, but through that process, they become your loved ones because you care so much, and we really uphold that.
Yeah.
Even the chance to ever work a funeral. I would encourage anyone who's looking to change careers or you know wants to aspire to be a licensed funeral director or a funeral home owner, take that step because it's very, very a positive experience.
Yeah. you know, and I just left my mom's house, you know, we eat Sunday
yeah.
dinner over there, you know. And so my niece got one of her friends from Eastern.
Hey, Miss Rolling.
And so she said she was telling her friend, you know, oh, my Sean over there, you know, he's a funeral home guy, and she said he don't look like a funeral home guy. And I'm like, what does that look like, you know? And I remember when I was a kid and before I used to go, you know, involved into the funeral home business, I used to be a little leery, a little shaky, too, you know, because people just superstitious. That's, I guess I put it like that, just superstitious.
But they say what we learned since we've been in the business is don't be afraid of the dead, be afraid of the living.
Man, Pastor Perry told me that when I used to cut hair for the funeral home.
Yeah.
You know, he wanted to lead me down there one day to cut a hair. I'm finna go with you, Pastor. You leaving, I'm leaving. He said, man, don't be afraid of the dead, be afraid of the living. And he right. As I've been in the business, he was right.
Sure.
Because it's the people that's out in the community that destroy people. It's the things that you say. I remember an older lady named Essie Shepherd, and she said, stick your tongue out. And I stuck my tongue out, and she grabbed my tongue real hard. She said, see, that can kill. It's what you say out your mouth. Are you saying something loving? Are you saying something kind? Are you saying something necessary? Are you saying something that's going to build somebody up or tear somebody down? Yeah. You're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution.
Sure.
You can't be both sides of the fence on that. You're either with me or you're not.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of that episode of 212 that we did of just that showing of appreciation and that step, plant that seed of generosity and what that returns to and how that makes that 212 degrees makes water turn into steam, which fuels locomotives.
212 is boiling.
Yeah.
That's boiling.
Yeah, you knew that from your time in the military.
From being a cook. That was one of the test questions. Gotta get them test questions right. You know, 212 boiling, you know, and a lot of times in life, I mean, sometimes we don't have enough patience.
Sure.
So we short-tempered. So things can send us off just like that.
Interrupt that serenity.
You know, you're trying to get to a certain place, you didn't pray, you started your morning out by prayer. You know, I had this happen to me. You started out with a good old prayer. You're like, Lord, thank you for everything you have bestowed upon us. Let me have a great, great day. And by the time you get down the street, stop to get a cup of coffee, somebody say something off the chain. And it's your choice then whether to feed into it or just let it go. Mm-hmm. Feed into it or let it go. You know, I would say let it go. You know, I would say let it go. But sometimes, some things you just can't let go. Because sometimes you just got to check folk. Because folk will run over you like what you said, locomotive.
A locomotive.
Folks are trying to
keep it moving.
Folks they'll beat up on you if you don't stand up and be tough.
Yeah.
You know, you got to be tough. Life, you got to be tough out here nowadays. You can't be like what Eric Thomas said. We all spoiled. I mean, just can't take no pain.
Yeah. No
pain at all. Be able to go through. I mean, David said, yea, do I walk through the valley of the shadows of death. But he knew he had somebody with him. He knew he had God. You got to hold on to something bigger than yourself. Yeah. And so many times, a lot of times, our people say, well, I don't go to church because of people over there at the church, they hypocrites and they this and they that and they this and that. Stop going to church for everybody else. Go for yourself.
Yeah, and with that being said, that sovereignty, that supreme reign over a territory or geographical area, and that kind of brings me to sovereignty, because sovereignty within your own actions and in your own inner being. And Eric Thomas really promoted that as far as just take control of your own actions, like you said on the radio program. Toughen up.
Toughen up. Toughen up. I mean, you know, even with my own kids, you know, it was things that had went on over the years in my life, you know, where I wasn't able to be there. But like I told them, you know, you're grown now, you know, and you got to get tough. You got to get tough. You got to get past that point where you were hurt. Or, you know, and sometimes folks see what happens is that you stay in that same place, you let the grass grow over your feet, like my buddy told me, say, you don't let no grass grow on your feet, Sean. And you stay in that stagnant stage. You stay in that hurt mode. Then it start being written all over your face, and then you start taking on the spirit of bitterness and mad and frustrated. And then you watch everybody else get blessings around you, and you can't achieve that level of blessings, getting those blessings, because you still stuck. Don't let somebody hold you hostage to what you used to be. You know, so many times we holding people hostage on what they used to be. Oh, I remember when Miss Lori was this, or I remember when Stacey was this. You know, man, this is 2012. You talking about 1980?
2013.
Yeah, you talking about 1989.
Wow.
And if you in a place where you haven't changed, you in a bad place. If you still doing the same thing you was doing since 1989, and here it is 2012, and you ain't got no new ideas, no new aspirations. You ain't went and bought a new coat, and you ain't treated yourself.
What did he say though, Sean? He said that in that place of sorrow and pain, I finally made a change and said I'm gonna change. Period. The change starts right now, not in the future. It's what if the future never comes?
He said you get tired of being tired. That's basically what he was saying. He got tired of being tired. And it took him 12 years to get that degree. But he said it didn't take everybody else 4. But he said the good thing about a degree, it don't got a date on it.
Does not have a
If
date.
it took me 12 and it took you 4, I still got my degree.
Yeah.
It's to get to that goal, it's to get to the shore. You know, and a lot of times we do TV programs and we do a radio program. You might look at a pastor, you might do this here. It ain't about what they're doing in life, it's what you doing. A lot of times we put people in an elevated state, like even like us, put us in an elevated state. Don't put your faith in me, put your faith in God, because that's who ain't gonna never let you down. I was just talking to my sisters about that, about relationships. Sure. We was talking about relationships over my mom's house, and I was telling them, don't put any more trust in anybody else more than you put in for yourself. Because anytime like you allow somebody else to drive a vehicle, and I used that reference to my son. Right. I said, look, son, you see what happened when you let somebody else drive the car instead of you saying, hey, look, baby girl, I'll drive for you.
Right.
Because you can't trust nobody else driving, really, And so she crashed and almost hurt you.
Right.
Anytime in life when you allow somebody else to drive the wheel for you, they're subject to crash.
Because they could be asleep at the wheel.
And their vision might be messed up. They might be working off hurts and pains.
Yeah.
And they might be working off a habit. They might be working off all different elements of life where you don't want to be. Because some places in life you just don't want to be.
Yeah, but through that pain in life, though, you can always still make a change.
Oh yeah, it's all
because you know that pain. You don't want to feel that pain anymore. You don't want that. You want that serenity. So, guys, and to take it a step further, a great motivator for Mr. Eric Thomas was Dr. Ben Carlson, a renowned surgeon who was told that while he was growing up as a young boy in Detroit, he couldn't be anybody. Mm-hmm. That's why Mr. Thomas wears that Detroit Tiger hat a lot, because he said, much like yourself here in Champaign-Urbana, you represent where you're from. You haven't moved your long-standing the whip hair design from the neighborhood, because what you're saying is that you can change. You can turn less into more, so everybody knows your name.
Mm-hmm. When you
and I appreciate that.
When you talked about the 5 senses, when you talked about senses, and I was thinking about my mom used to say, you got 5 senses. Smell, touch, feel, hear, And so when I was thinking about what Pastor Johnson had service today, he was going into a thing about Isaac and his kids, Jacob and Esau, and how his wife got into it and gave the other son the blessing that was supposed to be for the other son. But as the older man got older, he started losing his senses. So he lost his sense to really hear, because he can't really hear. He said, hey, look, you sound like, I think he said, you sound like Jacob or something like that, but you don't sound like it. You don't sound like that person. But then they had disguised the skin and put it, because he had hairy skin. Sure. So his sense of touch was pretty much thrown off. So it was so many things that might be thrown off, because a lot of times we're going off of what we feel, and Pastor explained to
what
us.
we see and not where our faith and vision is.
And sometimes what's looking good on the outside might not be so good in the inside. A lot of times we making major decisions off of what we see. And I was talking about it this morning on the radio, be careful how you treat a stranger, because a stranger might be an angel. And you unaware Would you have treated that bum a little different? Would you probably gave them people some change when they asked you for some change? I was getting ready to walk about a gas station yesterday, and the lady said, Sean, would you like to get to the children's hospital? And so I was like, no, I don't want to go to the... And before I could hit the door, I said, look, here go this dollar. Let me be able to get to, because I couldn't even get in my car and feel good, knowing I didn't give when it was an opportunity to give. You know, somebody asking you for something, you know, don't be... I mean, come on, $1.
Right.
Come on, $1.
You lose more dollars than
come on,
even count.
You know, I mean, come on. I mean, and then it was for a great cause. The Children's Hospital. I couldn't get that ringing out my head. Children's Hospital. By the time I hit that door, I didn't even let the door even pop before I came back out with that $1.
Yeah.
Because it was just $1.
And that's true. And like we talked before the show, we always prepare. Is what level of giving are you? Is it a Newport cigarette? Is it $1 to the children's fund?
Is that the limit?
Is it a hospital wing over at Carl? Is it a hospital wing in Nigeria? It's all your levels of giving.
Yeah.
And that's all relative to where your vision is, which when you give, it should be unconditional. You should know where that's going, to a better place.
You know, and that goes on your success. You know, go back to your success. How successful do you want to be? How big a goal do you want to set? Do you want to just, do you just want to plant a garden over here in Champaign, a small garden, or do you want to feed the world?
Yeah, kind of like, are you shooting for the dot, or are you shooting for the line?
Exactly.
I read that the other day, and that was a real...
And a lot of times we, you know, because we working off so much feelings and hurts and bitterness and this, that, and this, that we can't see the forest for the one tree.
Yeah.
I mean, the one tree that's blocking our vision. But we can't see, we got a whole forest of lessons.
Sure.
And I was talking pretty much this morning on my radio program, you know, if we all say that we belong to a God that has everything and everything is His and abundantly, and we supposed to be, you know, supposed to be showered with blessings and stuff, you should be a reflection of that. I shouldn't have to come up to you every time I talk to you and you got some sauceful story to tell me. Oh, this ain't went right. Oh, the dog got right. This and that and it is. You know, I mean, at some point you should be a breaking point.
Sure.
There ought to be some blessings coming out of you. You ought to be telling me some powerful testimonies. Yeah, God, the Lord took me through this here, but He led me all the way through. And man, let me tell you how the blessing was when I came up out of it. You know, there's so many things that happened in my life, you know, where it didn't look good at first.
Right.
But I mean, at the end, I'm able to give such a powerful testimony. You know, there's so many things that that went wrong. Not could have went wrong, that went wrong. But I didn't spend as much effort on what went wrong as I spent on the efforts to try to make it right. You got to get it right. I talked to some adult ed students over at the adult ed. Big shouts out to Charles Young and everybody that's over there at that program, you know.
And also Miss Cooper again too, a brand adult ed. That's a great program.
Yeah.
The website class. Don't forget to sign up for the website design class.
Lord, I got a chance to go over there and I got a chance to talk to some adult ed students. And one of the young men I'm so proud of, because a lot of times we're so embarrassed when we haven't got a high school diploma or a GED that we don't want to go back and get what the devil has stolen from us. You know, and so I was really giving him a big old what up in the classroom. But I was so happy to see so many young ladies in there, young mothers in there. You know, probably about 20 young ladies in there.
Great,
you know,
great.
A couple young men I knew from the neighborhood that was over there in the program. And one of the young men, he back there asleep. See nothing. See, and what Eric Thomas said, you know, a lot of times we spend way too much time sleeping. You know, and what he said to Beyonce said is, you know, once she started working on the movie, then she's working on the video, and you know, and this, that, and other.
The video or the movie.
3 days had passed and she forgot she even ate. And me and my brother talk about that all the time, because I'm working so hard, I'm working so much to try to catch and get back what the devil has stole from me, whether it's education or it's just been the time that I spent because I didn't have a focus at that time. You know, I'm trying to get back some of those things to learn the knowledge of so I can be more professional, more proficient, you know,
more giving.
And I might miss out on a meal or two. And I used to do that all the time, you know, cutting hair all day long and don't eat, you know, but you're working towards your success, you know, and so when he talked about with 50 Cent, you know, 50 Cent working on the movie, and when he wasn't working on the movie, he was working on the soundtrack. And then he said, 50, when are you gonna sleep? He said, sleep. Those are for folks that's broke. You know, I mean, don't nothing happen to a sleeper but a dream. You just keep on dreaming, dream after dream.
What did Puffy say? I'll sleep when I die? Isn't that what he said?
You know, and that's me. Because, you know, we started behind the 8 ball of things. You know, I mean, you know, when I look at our family and our modest, you know, startup, you know, I mean, you know.
Humble beginnings, how about that?
Just very humble beginnings.
Pie.
Humble beginnings, you know, and back in the day we had a lot of families like that. You know, didn't have a lot to give, but had a whole lot of love in the house. Big shouts out to all my seniors that's out there that remember those moments. And the people that can remember those moments when you didn't have to go spend $300 or $400 on a PlayStation to make somebody happy. Then the next 5-10 minutes, they stay mad all over again. You know, and then you got to spend another $200-300 to put a smile on somebody's face. You know, we would come up with all kind of games. The strikeout. You know, just put a box on
kickball.
Just kickball.
Foursquare.
You know. Time, you know, we're a tag, you know, just start running and somebody tag you, you know. I mean, those are games that we was created to come up with that didn't cost nothing. It didn't cost the family anything.
The thing was too, I remember in the past segment you spoke of Douglas Park and what an epicenter that was for the neighborhood to come together and have a cookout, have a barbecue, you know, shoot ball, and that didn't require a PlayStation.
Right.
You know, Sean, as far as the PlayStation goes, you know, like you, to dovetail on you saying we created our own fun, it's kind of like we no longer have the playground phenomenon anymore. It's more about kids not really being forced into social interaction, but just more so looking for gratification from something that you didn't have any creative input on.
Right. Something that you didn't create.
Right.
And so now you got to go in order to get some type of gratification. Now you got to spend some money.
Right.
You got to spend some money. You know, I mean, you know, and taking yourself out of you know, and giving something back. You know, we talked about giving back and being at a you know, leave something with somebody else and a good feeling with somebody else. You know, we got to on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we have the Walk as One. Mm-hmm. And then Walk as One is a program that Unifor in the city of Champaign.
What neighborhood, Sean?
Over at the Bristol Park neighborhood.
Okay.
We're going to rally over at Pastor Gibney's church around the corner. And
Bellefontaine.
Over at Bellefontaine. And so one of the things that we found out, and man,
shouts out to Rob Bass. I can't forget about Rob Bass. He lives right next to that church over there.
Yeah. But you know, one of the things we found out through us going door to door doing insurance is that we started finding out, you know, let's find out who's in that household.
Yeah.
I mean, once you go door to door, you start finding out some of the people's personal needs because they'll tell you.
Right.
So me taking that information back to CCAP and being able to say that, you know, around the city manager and around Orlando and them,
sure,
at Unit 4 and them being everybody being able to put a program together. John from the city, big shouts out to you, John and Renee, Dunn at the police department that spends, I mean, just effortless work, you know, just putting a lot of work into trying to get out, let's march, let's meet the neighbors, let's meet the neighborhood. And it really has turned out to be a really great program. And so anytime that you see March as One, join up, find out where we're going to be at. We need as many people as possible to come out and support, and let's meet the neighborhood. You got to know the people that's in your neighborhood.
And that, you know, I can't but, you know, share with the audience, of course, and my cohorts here. That kind of March as One kind of almost reminds me of a salvation, which, you know, by definition, we're an informative program. Salvation is to save, to protect from danger. And with these interactive, you know, City of Champaign programs that really kind of encourages salvation. Don't be a complainer. Be a saver. You know, save somebody from danger or harm. Like, as an example, Lori, you know, love your animals and have an animal shelter with the horses and things of that nature, the early morning program, and, you know, care about a person. If you care about an animal, care about a person.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's definitely a proactive step, you know, and showing that you care, showing that love. You know, people just don't like to hear it sometimes. They want to see it. They want to see it. Just throw some money at it. You know, I mean, anybody can throw some money at it. But I mean, actually get out there and make it to that Bristol Park barbecue, you know, and meet the people and be, you know, genuine when you're meeting the people. You know, just don't throw no money from an administrative standpoint and just, hey, here, take this check and get out of my face type thing. You give them, present the check. Show that you care. Cut that ribbon.
And with that being said, Sean, everybody knows you're a member of CCAP, and everybody knows that the police are here to protect and serve. And you've embraced, and I think have really shown the community and changed a lot of the attitudes in the community in which you work, which is on the north end, right around the corner from the funeral home, that they are here to protect.
Oh yeah.
Along with the city manager and the city staff, and we really are gracious for you folks for that. But salvation is protection. It is not. It's nothing else. It's not to repent or change. It's action.
Without the police department, we'll have a lawless society. So my big shots out there to Anthony Cobb, to Anthony Cobb and the great staff and the great job he's doing, and everybody that's on the police department. We got men and women that's trying to change. But we got to help them in that transition to change. So when you see some of the people, some of the officers, stop and have a conversation with them. Try to get a feel for them. And I mean, I'm hey, what's going on? Because you in my neighborhood. And take back ownership of your neighborhood.
But to change your mind,
and to change your mind.
You gotta change your mind to change your actions. It's kind of what we always say. It's kind of like, by definition, insanity, because we keep doing the same thing every day, day after day,
expecting something,
and we expect a different outcome. To change your actions is to change your mind, which becomes your salvation. Sean, I think that there's been a real, even biblical, but even in day-to-day life, a real contrast in definitions. I think we got away from change starts from within.
Start right with you.
Which changes our outcome and how we're perceived and how we're accepted in society, because let's face it, all of us have been a pimple-faced kid. All of us have felt like an outsider at one time or another, and we want to be accepted.
Right.
And so, let's begin to kind of put into motion that change that's going to get us that better outcome.
My true belief is that everybody like winners. Everybody want to be on a winning team. If you can't win yourself, you want to be a part of a winning team. You want to go to that. You want to go to that church.
That next level.
Yeah, you want to go to that church that has a winning pastor and a winning choir and winning members that want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be on a job that's a winner. You want to be
a winning team. I work for eBay. I work for Unix. Or
why would you want to be a part of something that you're not proud of? Why would you want to be a part of that? Why would you want to be a winner? Everybody should be striving to be that winner. So let's win in life. And regardless, if you hear the city of Champaign, you should want to see the city of Champaign be a winner.
Because let's face it, the city of Champaign is a model for most modern societies about how to grow in a recession. If you don't believe me, go right downtown and see the new hotel being constructed. We are a progressive and enterprising city in the Champaign, so let's all try to participate. Let's not be disenfranchised, but become empowered.
Right.
Because it's happening, isn't it?
Right. Oh yeah.
Or it's about, do you want to plug in?
Do you want to plug in? Where do I fit in at? Go down there and check that plan out and see where you fit in.
It's amazing. They're digging a hole. It's 16 feet deep right now. It's amazing how they can do so much on a small spot.
Right.
It's just truly amazing, but believe that they paid those engineers enough money we know it's going to be fantastic.
Oh, it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to help our downtown area, and it's going to increase revenue around here, and it's going to increase a place for you to go.
Right, a place to work.
A place to work. Yeah, a place to be employed. I just it's so much going on. A lot of times, the brother says, "Oh, Sean, where you been?" And like I told him, man, I got so much going on my own self that I just don't. I don't have a lot of time to just go to meetings after meetings and with no results. I don't have enough time to be arguing with folk that don't see it my way or haven't learned from their mistakes. That's continuously want to make mistakes. And like we were talking about it earlier, going back to what Eric Thomas talked about. I don't spend more time watching basketball, football, and all this other type of stuff than I have time to be working on my success.
But that being said too, Brother Williams, is to pin down to what Brother Thomas said, is that it's who you surround yourself with. You for him to have a 2.5 grade point average, he was in a program that required a 3.0 grade point average, which is in a master's program at the Michigan State University. He went to the Bright Star of the class, and first thing he said was the Bright Star told him, well, Eric, I'm not that smart, but Eric, here's what I do that differentiates me from everybody else who's smarter than me. And one of the first things was, first, pull your pants up and quit wearing Malcolm X shirts. I mean, I love Malcolm X, but Eric, I think the teacher might be a little bit intimidated.
Right.
But then second, sit at the front of the class and change your wardrobe. It's just like getting a haircut at the wheel. That is appearance, that equals feeling better. And the better you feel is the better that you are perceived and what you receive on what you put out.
Yeah. You know, we just had another seminar. And,
wow, that was great.
And my man Strike, he came down. Yeah, big shouts out to Strike. He was in the movie 8 Mile, but he's doing a lot of motivational speaking for a lot of multi-level marketing companies. And so he came and he spoke to a bunch of men and women in that night. And he said that a billionaire that he ran into told him he can tell what your next year's success is going to be like about what you're doing today.
Right.
About who you're hanging out with today. You know, what do your friends look like? What are the people that's around you that you spend the most time with? What do they look like? What is their family structure? You know, what's the mistakes that they making in their lives?
And what are they speaking?
What are they speaking? Are they speaking? Are they spitting venomous stuff out their mouth? You know, negativity all the time. You know, depression all the time. You know, are they bringing you down? You got to change the people that you're hanging around with. You know, what I said I was gonna do when I rode down to Tunica, Mississippi, and this is the views and opinions of Sean. I said I rode and I had enough time just to think and ride and look and
reflect.
And reflect.
And reflect. Not get out of the day-to-day treadmill and reflect about my life, who I am, where I am, and where I want to be.
And where I want to be. And I said, man, you know what? When I get back to Champaign, I'm going to change some people, places, and things.
And some phone numbers. You called the right number, but I'm not available. And don't be afraid to say that.
You know, I mean, because some people don't want to see you be successful. Some people be right in your face, right with you, and not with you. They with you, but not with you. So, you know, I mean, so you got to be the one to determine, hey, look, am I going to go through this or am I going to make a change? You know, change is not always good.
And with that dovetailing is triumph. And in this last year, Brother Williams, I mean, your triumphancy has just been enormous. It's like we talk in our chambers of 30%. And 30%, you know, 30% is to us, we're getting 30% of a return on investment, on a return on equity, and a return on asset. And that's what 30% is to us, and that's exponential.
Antoine.
Because that's all alone.
30%. You know, and it is. I mean,
and you've seen that, though. It's not only that we've said it, but we change our actions, which have changed our outcomes, which is equal triumphancy. And we want that for the neighborhood. We want that for the community. It is what it is.
You know what that's called?
Are you part of the problem or the solution?
You know, that's called shouting. You know, because you done made it through. You went all the way through all the misery and all the pain. And you weren't scared to go through it. You know, a lot of times we scared to go through something. So you can't get to that triumphant state, that victory. You know, where you can take it. Now we talked about racing cars and things earlier,
right.
And you can't make that victory lap. You know, get into a point where you're proud and you
right.
made a victory lap.
And get in the game. Get in the race.
Yeah.
Get in the race. Get off the sidewalk and get in the race.
Illinois Lottery said you can't win if you don't play.
Right. If you can do things better, we'll get in the race and make a change.
Make a change.
Stop complaining and be a doer.
Yeah. You know, and get politically, I mean, that's kind of where our U.S. Senate and Congress be, you know. Everybody complaining and everybody holding up the progress, you know. I mean, it's so many people that's in the way because they don't care about the U.S. citizen. You know, they don't care about the citizen, you and I. You know, more care about the party than they care about the American citizen. We got to go back to care right about that American citizen.
Yeah, but at the same time, Sean, the battle plan also is to really care about yourself.
Well,
Because as we always hear, recession, 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 but the reality is the Hershey Company was started in the midst of a recession, along with Disneyland, Disney World. I mean, there's been great fortunes and triumphancy in this time of recession and political strife and world disaster.
so you know where that put me
It's
right.
coming through the storm. Don't you always say coming through the
You put me
storm?
right back in entrepreneurship. Because anytime you let somebody else drive for you, expect to crash. You know, like I was talking to somebody that worked at Humco. You know, and I told him, I said, look, when them CEOs came from around the country and they came and walking through Humco and y'all in there cleaning the place up, making sure everything tight and clean, they knew you wasn't gonna retire. They knew that you wasn't gonna have that
Lose all your benefits.
They knew you was
for
gonna
a life insurance product.
They knew what the outcome was gonna be of that plant when they came through doing that inspection. But they didn't have the best interest of the employee. They didn't
Corporate profits.
That's
going overseas.
So what they was gonna do, they already knew that they was gonna merge and convert the company into something else.
We call that consolidation.
Well, a soft term for it. Somebody else might call it unemployment line.
Wow, chopping block.
Somebody else might call it homelessness.
Yeah, and that's a shame.
Somebody else might call it, I don't got these medical benefits. I ain't got this life insurance policy no more.
Now
What happened to my group plan? What happened to my group plan? When the group go, the plan go. When you guys check your group plan,
Right.
When the group go, the plan go.
And then where did your money go? It went up in smoke.
There you go.
It went away.
And that's not putting your money on seven, because you're putting your money on seven. It's on your own self and getting your own plan together.
And with that being said, the triumphancy, the derivative is Trump. A Trump card, which is a card that outdoes every other card. That's 7 and 11.
That's 7.
21.
And that's having your own.
That's having your own.
That's having your
and
own.
Thinking about having your own if you don't have your own.
Working toward.
Seeing your next job, dressing for success, seeing yourself before it happens in the role you want to be, and make that measure up.
God bless a child that has his own. That's working on his own plan. Working on his own diamond acres is what you said one time.
Buying your own diamond acres.
Buying your own diamond acres. We had older people back in the day, they didn't have a whole lot of education. But they had a whole lot of mothers with, and they knew how to go out there and get it for themselves.
And a dream.
I mean, my mom done grew us up off a garden. We didn't have to go to Snooks to get everything. I mean, now we relying on Snooks to bring us everything. And then when the broccoli got salmonella, then we ready to hurt somebody. But if you had raised a garden of your own and grew your own broccoli, you knew what type of fertilizer you put on the broccoli.
Right.
You knew how to clean them yourself. Some of these things we can do for ourselves, but we expect everybody else to do something for us. Stop, get out of that spirit of a handout spirit. Right. That's what I say, a handout spirit, waiting on everybody to do something for you, waiting on big government to come in. Because anytime somebody else gonna come in and do something for you, believe me, they gonna be in your business.
Yeah. And
they gonna take over your business. And so a lot of times when we trying to reach out and we think we're getting over, you really ain't getting over because they really got you where they want you to be. You gotta break yourself free. And it's called freedom.
Yeah, Pastor Joel Osteen, who I've listened to a lot, you said on the television, televangelism, don't look for a blessing or charity. Be a blessing.
Be a blessing.
And that really impacted me. And
oh, yeah.
It's just, it's so truthful, It really is. And again, we really are thankful for this opportunity with UPTV and the beauty of our nation, which allows us this freedom to express, like Sean said, his ideas and opinions. Like I'm saying, my ideas and opinions. But without UPTV and more so America, we would not even have this opportunity if we lived in Iran or we lived overseas somewhere that's a military state. And thank God bless America.
Oh yeah, definitely. God bless America, man. I mean, one of the,
because we need help.
I mean, we're just one of the best nations on the face of this earth. One of the best nations on the face of this earth. We had our ups and downs. Yeah, we didn't been through it. But be willing to go through. And just like that we didn't overcame things in the past, in our past history, we'll overcome some more things. But just be willing to go through so you can make that victory lap. You can have that victory lap in your life.
And get in the race.
Yeah, but get in that race. Go back and get what the devil done stole from you. I know there's some people out there that hear me. Go back out there and get what the devil done stole from you. I don't care how old you are. You always can get a second chance because God always allows us to have a second chance. If you wake up and you're able to see this program, then you're able to wake up and see it the next week. You're able to wake up to see it the next week.
You got a shot. What are you waiting for?
You got a shot.
www.williamsmemorialservices.com. Sean, he's got over 5,000 friends on Facebook. You know, when you see him around, when you see me around, just say, hey, give us some feedback. We're here for the community, and just give us your feedback, negative or positive, because we want to bring and share ever more better information and more exacting information.
Big shouts out to Steve Carter, man. I really thank you. I know you're retired, but I thank you for being a man of your word and sticking by your word to help us get some change here in the Champaign-Urbana community. So big shouts out to you, Steve Carter. Congratulations on many, many years of success as a city manager. Thank you.
Let the truth be told.